Let me talk a bit about the problem then, about the issue of child soldiering. I spent a lot of time going around the United States talking about it, and I'm glad to do it here in Missouri also. I don't think that there's an international issue, international crisis that has been more captured by the media. The child soldier issue is one of those issues, as I said, is somewhat fraught with misconceptions. And part of it is kind of the definition. To understand a problem, you first have to kind of come to grips with what it is. And you have to realize that it's this and maybe not that. And the first challenge is the whole term child soldier. I think often we kind of equate being a soldier with somebody who carries a firearm, and that's true, certainly. Someone who's in uniform. That's not generally true of child soldiers. And actually not every child soldier carries a firearm. Some child soldiers are suicide bombers. They're wearing. But those young people, as young as 6, who are generally forced at the consequence of death to themselves, certainly death to their families, or voluntarily join, maybe because of a sense of nationalism or spirit of the cause. As young as 6, they're probably going to be forced, up until age 18 to join, are boys and girls, first of all. And the boys are doing a range of things. Yes, they're carrying firearms, AK-47 rifles, and lots of other firearms. One of the causes of the issue, and why it's so prolific today since the 1990s, has to do with the overwhelming number of illegal firearms around the market. So it's boys and girls, and the boys are soldiers, but the boys are cooks and porters and messengers and spies and a range of other things. The girls are all of those things, and then they live another hell. And the other hell is that they're sexually brutalized. They become wives to commanders, not in the sense that we would think of a wife, but they're raped and they're taken by commanders 3 or 4 times their age potentially. And then they're forced to give birth to children. The children are often infected with HIV/AIDS, as are the girls, and they're traumatized, clearly psychologically and physically, as are the boys. So it's boys and girls. The other issue has to do with numbers. How many child soldiers are out there? And 250 to 300,000 is probably a good range, but we don't really know. Often they're being recruited by insurgent groups, but they're also being recruited by governments. The government of Myanmar, Burma, has between 70 and 100,000 child soldiers. They're starting a whole recruiting campaign I was reading about yesterday where they're offering college tuition, health insurance. It sounds a little bit like what we do. But it's the 16-year-olds and 15-year-olds, not the 18-year-olds. So it's happening all around the world. It's just not Africa. Africa is a focus, but child soldiers are currently being used in Colombia, in Myanmar, Burma, in Sri Lanka. The war is now over in Sri Lanka, so we're now reintegrating child soldiers in Nepal, in parts of Thailand, probably 4 or 5 other places that I could go into in the future. So think about it as boys and girls, and think of it beyond what's Africa, and think about the numbers of 250,000 are really kind of hard to calculate by and large to figure out how many are out there. So it's a very intractable problem, we would say. It's hard to move away from it. It's been a problem that's been around. The biggest issue and the biggest focus of people who work in the field today tends to be more focusing on bringing kids out of the bush, bringing them out of their environments and rehabilitating them. Demobilization, disarmament, and reintegration, DDR, is the process where we bring people out and we kind of put them on the right track.